Welcome to the Pistons Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Pistons fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. I want to thank all of you for listening. Please subscribe. Click on that thumbs up button and the notifications button. Tell a friend. Well, our Pistons made their first round pick. It's got to hit. Trajan's got to know what he's doing. We selected Ebuka Okorie, and I reported this last week that the Pistons have been zeroed in on him for weeks, and they have spent so much extra time, I think, bringing him in for workouts, interviewing him. Anyway, I heard reports from reliable sources that was the case. I don't know if they were so locked in on him and so determined to get him. We traded up from 21 to 17. I didn't think it'd be that easy to trade up from 21 to 17. And two guys I wanted Cam Carr. He's 6'6", or Labaron Philon that was 6'3", and we got Okorie. He's 6'1". So again, I'm a Pistons fan. I hope Trajan's right. If he's not right, then I'm not going to be happy. But, he's had more time. He spent more time with them. I'm going to go over all the great stuff about Okorie. There's lots of positive things, but list all the 6'1" guards, small 6'1" guards that are successful in the NBA. Just list them off. So he was comped with Tyrese Maxey, and Maxey's still taller than 6'1", but that's a great comp. If he can turn out even close to Tyrese Maxey, obviously Trajan hit a home run. So some other things were Kemba Walker or Isaiah Thomas. So obviously I don't think he's going to be that. But another thing we're going to talk about after I talk about Okorie, we're going to talk about the ramifications of the Giannis trade that finally happened. We're all so sick of listening to talk on every podcast of the national reporters about the Giannis being traded or not being traded for the last 3 years. So, we gave up 3 second-round picks to move up 4 places. Smart move. And, again, I thought for sure Philon is 6'3", and Carr is 6'6", and can jump out of the gym. He slid well after. I didn't even stay around to listen. But the other thing that concerns me a little bit is Okorie shot 34% on threes. That's not a great three-point shooter, where a lot of these other guys shot really high. But I'm sure he's a great shooter. I'm sure he showed that in workouts. He's got lots of skill, and the projections I saw, the different mock drafts, he was predicted to go like 20, 21, or 26. And we traded up to get him at 17. So, again, we spent all kinds of time with him. I think we fell in love with him. And so we took him. So he has great tight handles. He plays below the rim. Even though he's a great athlete, but he gets to the rim. He had averaged 7 free throws a game. So that's impressive. He's a 3-level scorer. So he's got a beautiful float game with either hand. He can get into the paint and get to the rim. Even, like I said, he's a freak athlete, but he doesn't get above the rim, I guess. That's the reports I heard. He's fearless. He just turned 19, so there's probably room for him to grow. Big question in my mind is, so Sasser and Danis, they're both tiny guards also. So obviously we're not going to go into the season with all 3 of them. So also I think that it takes away, I really loved Anthony Simons. He could be gotten for cheap. And if Okorie ever gets close to being as good as Anthony Simons, again, that'll be a home run. I doubt he will. So we'll see. But he's smart. He went to Stanford. You got to be smart to go to Stanford. He was going to go to Harvard, which is really low-level basketball. Compared to it's a Division I school. The Ivy League schools are Division I. But anyway, he's a tough competitor. I'm sure that impressed them. And it remains to be seen. He only averaged 3 assists a game. So he's supposed to be a great playmaker, though. I guess his team didn't shoot very well. So if you make a great pass to somebody, they don't make the shot. But I guess then you don't get an assist, obviously. But I guess he can make all the passes. He can throw left or right-handed passes from one side of the court to the opposite corner, which is a tough, great pass that you need to be able to make in the NBA. And so, yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I was heartbroken not to get Cam Carr, and then my second choice would have been Labaron Philon. I've been heartbroken before. I wanted Donovan Mitchell instead of Luke Kennard so bad in that draft. I wanted a whole bunch of players before Killian Hayes. My first choice was Halliburton. Then I wanted the guy that plays for Portland now that got drafted by the Wizards. I don't know why I always draw blanks, but yeah, they don't pick the guys I want typically. So anyway, let's hope that for the best. We'll see what happens, but we got a talented player. Again, little guys often get hunted in the playoffs. They'll switch off, get him in a switch, and try to attack him and take it right at him. It happened with Danis, and it happened with Sasser, and those two guys are both tough players and tough fighters. But yeah, we'll got to give Trajan a chance to see if he's right. This is a big move, Trajan. This is a big pick. You will be judged by this for the rest of your career. Hopefully we can make some moves. But the Giannis trade finally happened, and there's some repercussions, again, like I mentioned, for the Pistons, what possibly could happen here. So one thing before I say that, I was really looking into this, and not that the Pistons will ever get Trey Murphy. Seems like nothing I really, really want seems to happen. I know he's in big demand, but I was scared. I thought that Oklahoma City, there was lots of rumors out there that the Pelicans really wanted to trade up in the draft. There's a player they wanted really bad. And so I was afraid they would try to, if he was available at the OKC's pick at 12 or at the Warriors pick, I think at 11. I was afraid that they might package some stuff together if the player they wanted was available. But maybe he wasn't available. But the fact that they didn't trade to the Pelicans, didn't trade up in the draft, means that we still got a chance. Just like in Dumb and Dumber. So yeah, you mean we got a chance? So Marcus Spears, that's a big-time NBA reporter, reports that the Pelicans are still trying to trade Trey. So, like I said, there's hope. But yeah, the Giannis trade. So they have until they traded a whole bundle of players and a whole bunch of draft choices. The Miami Heat did to get Giannis. They traded like half their rotation and 3 first-round picks. Some that are going to be later. We don't know what the lottery is going to be like then, and we don't know what's going to happen with those picks. We don't know how long Giannis will be healthy, because some of them are out in the 2030s, a couple of them, I think. So anyway, they have Tyler Herro. And so it doesn't mean, there's lots of speculation and reports that we were trying to get in on Tyler Herro. So many reports that you got to believe that they were true, that we were very, very interested. So we can still make the trade, because the trade will not be consummated until July 6th. This happens. It happened to us. I can't remember who was involved, but there was a trade that involved different players, that even involved a whole bunch of teams, I think, and that the final trade maybe had like 5 or 6 teams in it, and they just can add to that. I don't understand all the technicalities of how they do it, but so easily we could trade. But what do we have that the Milwaukee Bucks had? They got 2 great picks. They got Burries, and they got another player from Tennessee, the big 6'10" kid, but I can't remember his name. But anyway, they got a couple good, potentially great players, but you never know what's going to happen exactly with those players. I think Burries will for sure be really tough for them. But yeah, so we still got a shot at getting Herro. Also, the fact that the Miami Heat in the trade got Giannis, and they got Bobby Portis. So they are hard capped. So according to what I've heard, and I don't understand, again, all the technicalities or ramifications of their being hard capped, but it sounds like they're not going to be able to sign Norman Powell. And so he could be a free agent. So let's again quickly compare the two. Powell is 6'3" and 33 years old. And Herro is 6'5" and 26 years old. So taller and younger, Herro is. They both averaged about 21 points a game. Powell averaged 3.5 rebounds a game, and Herro averaged 4.8 rebounds. So Herro's significantly better there. Powell averaged 2.5 assists. Herro averaged 4.1 assists. So Herro's a much better distributor. So they both shot about 48% from the floor. They both shot 38% on three. So their shooting is really close. Herro is a 91% free throw shooter, and Powell is a 82% shooter. So Herro's better there also. So a lot of things in Herro's favor. Now the things that's not in Herro's favor is he's making $33 million. How bad does he want it? We wouldn't have to trade anything to get Powell because he's an unrestricted free agent. We would have to trade something for Herro. How much would you want to trade for Herro when he's only under contract for 1 year? He's making $33 million a year this next year. But then if you want to make sure you re-sign him before you really give up assets, and then how much is he going to want? And so how much long-term money do we want to lock up for a guy that's always injured? He's averages about 50 games a season. Which is, again, against what Trajan's thing is. When Trajan signed players, free agents, like Tobias and Tim Hardaway Jr. and Beasley and those guys, he gets guys who aren't injured, who play lots of games throughout their career. So if that's his philosophy, that surprises me a little bit that we're going after Herro. But he's very, very gifted, incredible shooter, incredible scorer. His numbers go way down in the playoffs. I don't know exactly how many playoff games he's played, but they really went down. But yeah, another thing that happened. So now the Bucks are. So again, there's lots of things that happen. There's from consequences of a trade, like for instance, the Bucks have all these new players. They added like 6 players or 5 players that played for the Miami Heat that were players that got in their rotation, most of them. So how many roster spots are they going to have? They just drafted 2 rookies that are going to be on their roster for sure. So they're going to lose some players. I mentioned Kevin Porter Jr. Don't know what the intel on him. He did some bad things. He choked his girlfriend really bad a long time ago, probably over 5 years ago. And I don't know, he did something else that was wrong. I can't remember what it was now, but he's gifted. He's very, very talented. AJ Green, we want more shooting. He's 6'4", he's 27 years old, but he never misses. He never misses against the Pistons. He shot 42% on three. So again, I always say this about guys, that how tough are their 3-point shots? What is the volume they shoot? So if you shoot more contested threes and you shoot a high volume, then it's not as bad for your percentage to be a little bit lower. But if you're shooting a low volume and open threes, then you're not a shooter if you're not shooting a good percentage. So obviously that makes a lot of sense. So another thing that happened is Ayo Dosunmu signed a 5-year, $112 million, which is maybe more than we would have wanted to pay him. He's the guy I really, really wanted. 22 points, $22 million a year he's going to make. Here's the thing, though. Everybody says, oh, yeah, we're lucky we didn't trade for Kobe White or Dosunmu. But I've seen this happen throughout the NBA where a guy trades for a guy. He might have 1 year left, and then they end up a lot of times signing with the same team. They have bird rights for them sometimes, and whatever the reasons, but they get him in there. The guy likes it there, and then they end up keeping him. So we could have traded and got those picks and got Dosunmu. And so, by the time they think that Ebuka Okorie is ready to play in the NBA. That's a report I read. Again, the reports, all the things I talked about, who knows? We'll see what happens in the NBA. He's going to be an exciting player, but again, we'll see how much we're in a win now mode, and so yeah, we'll see what happens. Another thing that happened is Trae Young, though, I don't get this one. This is a head slapper. He signed a 4-year, $212 million contract with a player option. So he's making $53 million a year average. Nobody in the league wanted him. Nobody wanted to trade for him. He was a free agent. He rejected his player option. And so who are the Wizards bidding against? They should have said, go get your best offer and we'll top it. But anyway, so Dusty May, the Michigan coach, got picked up by the Mavericks, so he'll be the new coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Dusty May, good luck there. I've been seeing all kinds of things where he's gotten himself into certain situations where he was on TV and talking about things where he was really getting into the NBA. So there were reports that he signed that he agreed to a contract with Michigan, an extension for more money and stuff. But the report is maybe that he didn't sign it. So then now he can leave and go to Dallas. So interesting. The guy I really wanted, Morez Johnson. Obviously, we would have had a trade. He got picked way high. He got picked number 9. And not many people had him number 9 on their boards. But he was... If I said he's one of the guys I would have traded up for him and Cam Carr. Those were the two guys I would have wanted to trade up for, and we could have got Cam Carr, but I would have taken Morez Johnson first. But you got to know that Dusty May had a lot of influence on the Mavericks drafting him, because they could have drafted Yexel, who went really high to the Warriors. So they're in a win-now mode. He's a win-now player, and so I think he's going to be really great for them. He was drafted, I think, 11th. And Mora, the big 7'3" guy from Spain that we went to Michigan, he going to OKC. So they got Sturtz and Mora. So they're going to be trading players. So they got some guys that, that they're going to have to unload. I don't want Dort, but, there's some guys that they have that we might possibly get. So they already traded Wiggins to the Hawks for just 2 second-round picks. So that's we got to get some of those good deals. Wiggins was a really good player, but the Mavericks were so loaded. We got to look for teams that we could take advantage of, but we never seem to. Things never just seem to, teams make good trades and it just never seems to be us. We kind of seems like we get what's left over. So I'm hoping that something great happens. Again, a lot of things are going to happen between now and free agency and July 6th even. We'll see what happens. And I hope that we can get some really meaningful players. I know I've talked about John Collins and different guys that I'm interested in, Kobe White or whoever, but we'll see. But anyway, for now, we got a 6'1" guard that's tough and talented, and we'll hope that he can push us over the top in the playoffs. I also didn't mention the Pistons I had it written down somewhere here about where they were projected in the odds. I gave some odds before, but it's really crazy. After the trade for Giannis, they moved the Heat way up in the odds. So I don't know. Let's see if I can find out where I wrote that down at. Anyway, the Pistons are quite a ways down in the odds to win the championship or even for the Eastern Conference. But I think those are wrong. I think they got to keep Giannis healthy, and then they also got to try to replace, their roster. And depth is really important in the NBA, and teams, every team gets hurt all the time. So you got to have depth. You got to have good young players, and so we'll see what happens. But thank you for listening. All together, all the time. Let's go Pistons.